Greetings and welcome. This is Rajiv Makni. The show is Sale Guru and we're going to go all over the world on today's show. We'll start off with this. This is the Oppo Find N2 Flip. Oppo really got this right. Latest launch from Oppo, first flip phone launched by Oppo globally. We went to London for this launch, so we'll actually talk about the phone. We'll talk about what happened in London. We have an interview with the head of product management, Oppo Europe, so lots happening out there. Then we'll move on to the Vivo V27 series. This is a phone series that has completely changed market dynamics. The Pro as well as the base have the same optics and they have fantastic optics. So we'll talk to Vikas and Keshav from Vivo to find out exactly what they did with this phone, why they're doing what they are doing. We'll also review the Motorola G73, India's first phone with Mediatek Dimensity 930, upgraded camera sensors, 120Hz refresh rate, 5000 mAh battery. But at this price point, is this the best in its category? Then we'll review this, very interesting, Stuffcool's power bank, a very, very interesting product and accessory that you can use with MagSafe compatibility. Now, I don't know if the MagSafe part of it is the official compatibility, but we'll find out in our review. Let's get started with today's show. Our top story today is the Oppo Find N2 Flip. It's a great phone. I mean, this is where Oppo is really showing their R&D, their innovation, their chops, real tech chops out here. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. We went down to London for the global launch. All right, Tabitha, it seems like you've been having a great time out there. Exciting news from London. But what's happening at your end?
Yes, hi Rajiv. I am here in London where it's getting chillier by the day, but it has not stopped our excitement because Oppo launched this brand new phone, compact, light. This is the Find N2 Flip. We got to go around the city in London and different places to test out its capabilities like camera, its performance, its battery life, and we truly were impressed. We're going to talk more about this very soon, but I'm sure, Rajiv, you are as excited now that finally we have some competition in the flip phone industry. What do you say?
You know, I think this is fantastic. From the hinge to the outer screen, the battery, the camera. This is Oppo really getting it right, but we'll talk more about it in our review. So Tabitha, did you try out London's famous fish and chips?
Yes, Rajiv, you cannot come to London and not try the fish and chips. So it was definitely on my list and I ticked it off. It was really yum, and I mean, it's battered, fried food. You can't go wrong with that. So I definitely would recommend it to anyone that's coming to London for the first time. Do at least try it out once and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Let's take a look at the launch and then our review.
When folded, the N2 Flip is a tidy square with a dual camera setup and a 3.6-inch cover display which covers almost 50% of the top half. The phone is available in two colors, Moonlit Purple and the Astral Black. The phone flaunts polished aluminum sides and a matte black glass. The wedge cover has a wave pattern which looks prettier than plain aluminum. There's no apparent gap in the screen when the phone is folded, and the folding mechanism is sturdy yet effortless to operate. This is thanks to what Oppo calls a new generation of flex and hinge. Coming to the 3.26-inch cover display, is it any good? Well, yes, but it could do so much more. Thanks to the size of the screen, you can see as many as 6 notifications at once and can set up to 9 different widgets such as setting timers, viewing the weather forecast, an option to add a cute interactive pet who does different activities based on what the user is doing. Where the cover display does shine through is its functionality with the camera. You can now preview images and videos without any cropping. Having said that, there are a few limitations to this display as well. The hinge design continues to impress once the phone is opened, with no gaps where dirt or debris could potentially gather. The crease is nearly invisible and quite hard to spot without light reflecting off it. Oppo has done a great job with the display, with a rich and colorful 6.8-inch OLED display with minimal bezels and an HDR Plus certification, making for an amazing viewing experience. When it comes to consuming content, it has a peak brightness of 1600 nits, offering great visibility. The Mediatek Dimensity 9000 Plus does a stellar job of performing tasks with no signs of lag and fares well even while dealing with performance-heavy games. The phone is powered by a 4300 mAh battery. It is worth noting that the battery is largest in the segment, which promises a full day worth of phone usage on a full charge. The phone comes with 44 watts Super VOOC charging, which rapidly juices the phone to 50% in just about 23 minutes. The camera system has been co-developed with Hasselblad, which brings along its natural calibration technology and master filters. The phone features a 50MP camera, an 8MP ultra-wide and a 32MP front camera. We had the opportunity to test the cameras at Oppo's launch event in London, and here's what we experienced. The primary camera does a decent job at reproducing color, capturing fine details, and has a decent dynamic range. The 8MP ultra-wide camera, on the other hand, over-processes the image, making them overly smooth, and more often than not, you'll find yourself sticking to the primary camera for your shots. The front camera is the star of the setup, taking crisp images with accurate color representation. Making for some really sharp selfies, the Gesture Control 2 operates extremely well, allowing you to do away with hideous selfie arm in your images. Overall, camera performance of the phone is a little underwhelming considering how good cameras are on phones with a similar budget. Oppo has done an exceptional job with the Find N2 Flip, as it sets quite a few benchmarks for flip phones. The largest cover display, the largest battery, a solid display setup, and a hinge design that blows away its competition. The camera performs well when it comes to stills and selfies, but the video performance could pack a little more punch. Priced at $89,999, the Oppo Find N2 Flip is bound to give its competition a run for its money, and it is definitely a phone to look out for.
You might have been using smartphones for 10 years or even longer, so you need to change how you interact with them. And for a flip phone, that's super simple, because if you open the flip phone, it's just like a normal smartphone. That's a very good reason to go first with Flip, in our opinion. Number one thing is, of course, in terms of experience, right? So with Oppo Find N2 Flip, you get a much bigger cover screen compared to other phones, which makes it more easy to interact with key information. So really our purpose is that important things that matter to you most, like notifications, messages, calendar reminders, calls, those things are really big and easy to touch, easy to see on the cover screen. The second thing is that Find N2 Flip, according to our lab tests, is right now the only flip phone that can last for a day in terms of battery. With the Oppo Find N2 Flip, we got TÜV Rheinland certifying it for 400,000 folds. So it's rock solid, and if you keep folding it, you can do 100 times a day for 10 years.
Now let's move on to the Vivo V27 series. Fantastic phones. Both the phones, the Pro and the Base, have optics that are just amazing for this price point. So quick look at these two phones, and then we'll come back and speak to Vikas and Keshav from Vivo.
Vivo's V27 series has turned a lot of heads since its launch, and a major highlight of the series has been its superb camera performance and innovations. Be it the Sony sensor that has been specially customized for this series, the 50MP primary camera that doesn't disappoint even in low light conditions, the 50MP selfie camera that gives flagship phones a run for their money, or the all-new Aura light that replaces the conventional flash. Vivo has made the bold choice of providing the same experience in terms of camera and display in their V27 Pro model as well as the base model, with the processor being the only factor setting the phones apart. Let's find out more about the development of the camera system in our exclusive conversation with the Vivo team.
So what is a photograph to you now? At one time it used to be, okay, we're freezing a memory. But now with the amount of things that happen after we press the shutter button, the computational, the algorithms, the filters, is it still a memory, or is it a false memory now? Because so many different things happen to a picture. It's not the way we actually remember how we look, or the world looks like this. So what is a photograph in current terms now?
A photograph is still a photograph like it used to be. It's just that the way we are taking the photograph has changed a lot. You remember the earlier ones, we used to take it on film and develop the film, and then we went into digital, and now it's a combination of digital and high level computation. So the output, it's still capturing a memory, but we are just making it more and more accessible and giving the users more and more options of how they want the photograph to look.
Now, taking from that, the part that has not remained the same is the brand new Vivo V27 series, right? What have you done different from the previous generation?
Sure. So when it comes to Vivo V series, design and aesthetics and camera, these are the two core pillars, right? And this time in V27 series, a lot of enrichments and enhancements have been done, but the very significant one is the 3D curved display. So either it is V27 or V27 Pro, both variants have got 3D curved display, right? Second is within camera, if you look at, while people buy our V series because of the selfie experience, we are continuing with 50 megapixel eye autofocus selfie camera. But two big enhancements what we have done is we have developed some India customized features. So for the first time, we are bringing India's first wedding style portrait. Yeah. So what it does, there are a lot of filters what we have developed which are specially designed for Indian weddings, and it will give you those images which are immediately can go on social media, right? That's one big enhancement. Second is night portrait. That becomes one of the pain area for customers, right? We tried addressing it with our night portrait with aura light. So that aura light is this big thing, right? That out, yes. Right. So the moment people turn on the night portrait, this automatically turns on.
Okay, great. So now the part that he spoke about, which is interesting, is, the 3D curve and everything else. Now, in terms of aesthetics and looks, and in terms of something else, the V27 series base and Pro have no difference, right? Which is also the camera and optics. Yes. That's a pretty unique decision to take, because usually the main difference between a non-Pro and a Pro is nowadays for any brand is camera. Why did you take that decision?
We wanted the experience of the camera for V27 series to be the same, whether it's the regular user or it's the Pro user. And you would know that camera is actually one of the most expensive hardware parts that you put in the camera. So we have taken a very strong decision to do this, that whether you have a V27 or a V27 Pro, in terms of camera sensors, in terms of the aura light, and in terms of the overall camera experience, it should be identical.
It's a very interesting thing to do, and I completely agree with the thought process. But tell me now, with the kind of changes that you've made and everything else that is coming in, what's becoming more important now for smartphone optics? Is it hardware innovation or is it software and computational?
Actually, it's like two sides of a coin. And
which is the heavier part?
The heavier part right now would be hardware. But software is also a very major chunk, because we have so many algorithms that we are running in the background, and software tuning is what makes the hardware work better. So a lot of different phones will use the similar kind of hardware, but the output and the experience of the camera is based on how good your software is.
But taking up from what you've just said, why is the smartphone industry still chasing the megapixel part? You have unbelievable cameras, professional cameras that are still at 12 megapixel, right? So is this become something like a little bit of a trap for your industry, that you started off with megapixel, now you have to play that game? Is megapixel more important than sensor? Which is the right way to go now?
So sure, I think to put it simply, I think megapixel is not the game which we are going to follow, right? What matters to consumer is the real output, right? The picture has to look beautiful. The object has to stand out, right? If they're looking for portrait, there has to be bokeh effects, right? So what matters to us as a Vivo company, and especially for V series, what we believe in the aperture, the sensor, and the algorithms. Like you asked me whether it is a hardware heavy or a software. Honest answer is it's balance, right? It's a mix of both, right?
Now, we spoke about sensors being one of the most important things. You've also spoken about the fact that a megapixel is not the way to buy a phone, right? So, Vivo is one of those rare companies that's actually been working to customize a lot of things, including working with, let's say Sony to customize the sensors, the chip and everything, many other things that are being brought in. So, why do you need to go to a brand to customize something for you when all other brands seem to use their stock sensor? Even that is a great sensor. Why do you feel the need to customize it?
We start our camera development process by listening to the customer and seeing what is their requirement, right? If an off-the-shelf sensor cannot fill the requirements that the expectations that we have from the output and what we need from the camera, then we go and collaborate with these like sensor companies, Sony and Samsung and OmniVision.
So that customized sensor is then yours, no other brand can use it? It's been made for you?
Yes, so we like V27 Pro and V27 have an IMX766V sensor.
V sensor,
so
yes,
V stands for Vivo.
Okay,
so it's a
so this is just for you.
Yes.
No one else can get
Yes.
their hands on that at all,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's very interesting and something that I think a lot of people may not be aware of, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking with us and going deep into what all can be expected from the Vivo 27 series, which I think I can very, very candidly say we are very impressed with. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Let's take a quick break right now on the show. When we come back, lots more happening. Let's move on now. The review of the Motorola G73, Motorola's new phone, 5G ready, 13 5G bands. India's first phone with the Mediatek Dimensity 930 chipset. Great cameras also. Depth sensor in one is where, it kind of, again, maybe that feeling came. Motorola shouldn't be doing this anymore. A good screen, good refresh rate, stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos, 5000 mAh battery, 30 watt, and then turbo power charging. I don't know if the two go in the same sentence. It's priced at about 18,000 rupees.
Motorola has been consistent in bringing competitive phones to the market, be it their premium Edge series or the mid-range G series. Last year, the G72 didn't fail to impress consumers with its premium hardware, good display and overall reliability, but lacked 5G compatibility. Motorola has now launched the G73 5G. Let's see how it performs in the highly competitive mid-range segment. The Moto G73 continues to have the classic Motorola design language. The back panel is in acrylic glass with a matte finish, which doesn't collect too much dust or fingerprints. The phone is available in two colors, midnight blue and lucid white. The phone is quite sleek at just 8.3mm thickness and weighs only 181 grams, making it quite handy. It also has an IP52 rating for splash resistance. The fingerprint scanner is built onto the side and sports a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is always nice to have. Motorola has gone ahead with a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus screen. The lack of an AMOLED display is a little disappointing, but it's still a pretty solid display unit considering its 120Hz adaptive refresh rate with an HDR10 support and Panda Glass display protection. The display is not extremely bright, but gets the job done. The stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos are quite loud and good for gaming and streaming content. The Moto G73 is the first phone in India that has the Mediatek Dimensity 930 processor with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. For its price, the Performance G73 Pax is quite impressive. Gaming performance was quite satisfactory as the phone was able to handle games such as Asphalt and Call of Duty without any hiccups or overheating, nor did we face any lag switching between multiple apps. The phone has a great battery life, powered by a 5000 mAh battery, which will give you more than enough screen time, and the phone comes with a 30-watt turbo power charger, which is a welcome addition. Moto has gone with the dual camera setup, a 50-megapixel primary camera and an 8-megapixel secondary camera that acts as an ultra-wide camera, macro camera and an additional depth sensor, which honestly is better than having an underperforming 2-megapixel sensor. The primary camera does a decent job of getting sharp, saturated pictures. The ultra-wide camera provides generally softer and less detail in its results. The 16MP selfie cam is capable of good selfies in daylight, but suffers the same fate as the primary camera in low light conditions. The G73 comes with Android 13 out of the box and would have one more update with 3 years of security patches. It comes with Moto Secure installed, which allows you to add layers of security such as a secure folder to lock up your sensitive apps and a lock screen pin scrambler so that no one can identify your pin. You can also track your app permissions here. To sum it up, with a price tag of 18,999, the phone has good performance thanks to the Mediatek Dimensity 930. The LCD display and the camera is a slight compromise, but if performance is your primary concern, this might be a great phone for you.
Now let's review the Stuffcool power bank, 5000 mAh power bank with magnet or MagSafe compatibility. I don't know if it's officially certified or not. I don't think so, not at this price point, but it has quite a few very interesting features.
Stuffcool as a brand has been coming out with some interesting products that aid the Apple ecosystem. The newest Stuffcool magnetic wireless power bank with watch charging module is not only stylish to look at, but has great functionality. The power bank has been designed to be used with most Apple products. The presence of the magnetic MagSafe allows the product to be used with most iPhones, AirPods and Apple Watch models as well. What's great is that you can charge your phone and smartwatch simultaneously, which makes it the perfect travel companion if you have several devices within the Apple ecosystem. The power bank comes with a 5000 mAh capacity that has the ability to charge the iPhone 14 Pro completely once before requiring the power bank to be charged again. It also has a kickstand which allows the power bank to be mounted upright for ease of use when a device is charging. Priced at ₹3,999, the Stuffcool PB9063W 5000 mAh power bank is available to be bought through the company's online store as well as on Amazon. For its price, it is significantly cheaper than Apple's own MagSafe battery pack. If you are someone who has bought into Apple's ecosystem and use an iPhone, an Apple Watch and AirPods, this cheaper alternative is a must-have.
That then was the Sale Guru show for this week. So much more to show you next week. Do join me, Rajiv Makhni, on the show.